Final talk, final talk, final talk with Tavis,
Hey everybody, this is Vinyl Talk with Tavis, and I'm Tavis. This video is a video entry into the contest of Mr. Hall of Fame. He has reached 6,000 plus subscribers, and so he has begun this wonderful contest that I'm glad to partake in. He has 5 questions and 1 bonus question. But first, let me talk about this background. Okay, we have some work going on here in the room, and a little sentimental thing here. Back in the day, my grandma and a lot of her friends would quilt quilts, or they would make quilts. So this is my grandma's quilt. This was the last quilt that she made. And so because we're having some wall work done, they're painting and all this stuff, we put this up before they painted the wall because they had to scrape some stuff down. So this is up. It's not being damaged or nothing because we're going to eventually use it to hang somewhere, or use it when it's cold in the winter. Still trying to figure that out. The last quilt my grandma made, and she didn't finish it. So me and my mom finished it when I was home over during vacation. Is that not cool? And it is in great condition. And my mom and I, we washed it in the washer and dryer, and it didn't mess up anything. I mean, that's a whole nother video and has nothing to do with vinyl, but I guess it would go along with Grandma's Hands from Bill Withers. My grandma's hands made this quilt. But okay, I'm digressing. This video is for my entry into Mr. Hall of Fame's 6,000 subscriber contest. And here are the 5 questions. Name a song with scary lyrics that creep you out. Okay, Brendan, there are many. There are many. And the first one, I don't have this album, Brendan, but I remember in 1986 when Bon Jovi, and this is not lyrics, this is the music. When Bon Jovi came out with their song Living on a Prayer in 1986, and you hear the fade in of the synthesizers, and then you hear this bass that has a voice sound. That would freak me out. And in 1986, I think I was probably 14. I just started junior. No, I was a freshman, I believe. I'm not sure. I haven't done the math, nor have I done the research, so please forgive me. But I graduated in 1990, 89, 90, 88, 89, 87, 88, 86, 87. I was a freshman in high school. So when I would hear that song, even as a freshman, I did not really enjoy that tune. I didn't like the introduction for some reason. But I liked it after that. But usually I would just turn the radio station when I would hear it because I just was not interested in that crazy introduction. Okay, the second song that creeped me out was from the soundtrack Shaft. Okay, Isaac Hayes, 1971. The theme from Shaft always scared me. Even the lyrics. Okay, I was a very sheltered child, okay? What can I say? I was sheltered. I mean, I didn't expect to hear people say, Shaft was a bad mother. Shut your mouth. I was like, what are they? Don't say the word motherfucker. Don't say that in a song. And those ladies shut him up. But the introduction, I mean, that introduction is legendary, classic, but at the time when I was just, it came out in 71 and I was born in 72. So I didn't really hear the song that I can remember until I was like 6 or 7. I dreaded hearing that song. I dreaded it. Now I love it. And this is an awful copy. Surface noise everywhere. I've got to get a new copy of this. I don't care if it's a reissue. I don't care. I just need a new version of Shaft. Shaft was a very scary song for me. I have one more, okay? This is a cliche. Michael Jackson's Thriller album, the song Thriller, was a complete creep out. So you have Wanna Be Starting Something, you have Baby Be Mine, you have The Girl Is Mine, and then all of a sudden on the first side, the last song on the first side, you hear a door open and you hear footsteps and werewolves. Grandma, listen, if you were blossoming during that time, 1982, I was 10. I was 10 years old. 11, 12. That was just unheard of to hear that kind of music on the radio. And then to see the video. The video, I don't think people understand. People my age do understand. But these kids these days, they see everything and anything. But back then, when there was no social media, you didn't have access to the internet to see anything and everything you want to see. You know what I'm talking about. Back then, what you saw on your television was what you got. And if you saw something creepy and crazy, you were like, woo, Lord. So when the video came out, it was even a double whammy. Thriller. Even to this day, Brendan, Thriller still creeps me out. But I can get through it. Of course, you know, I'm of age. I'm a man, you know, but back then, man, it was scary. So I still have that residue of my youth that still creeps up every now and again. And so when I hear that, still gets me. So, woo, that's something else. Okay, on to the next question. Number 2, Brendan asks, what's the most stressful part of the collecting process? This is very simple. I was going to say money, Brendan, but you said don't mention that. So I immediately went to this. I have a tendency, if I have an album, you know, if I already own an album and I see it in a thrift shop or I see it in, even if it's sealed in a record store, that's legit, you know, or whatever, I will buy it again. So I'll have 2, 3, 4 copies of an album. And it's like, It's like a habit. It's like a drug. It's like an addiction. I will get more than one copy of an album, and I know many of you all do that. But I don't do it to give it away to others. I hoard them. I keep them for myself because I'm always thinking, what if this particular album that I already own gets a scratch on it? And so then I'll have this second or third album that doesn't because it's sealed. And that kind of gives me anxiety. But when I'm buying it, I don't have anxiety. But when I come home, I'm like, okay, why in the hell did you get a third copy of an album that you already have twice? I deal with that. Yeah, so that's the most stressful part of my collecting process. Here's the next question. Okay, number 3. Name 3 songs or albums that played a significant part in 3 major events in your life. Okay, so, I could easily talk about love and all that. I've had songs that make me think about a love affair and make me think about certain things like that. But I don't want to think about that right now. That's the thing. I want to get away from that. I want present love, but I'm digressing. This album here made a big difference. This is Chic, Risque. This was one of the first albums in which, musically speaking, I began to focus on the bass. Okay, Nile Rodgers and Bernard Edwards, the founders of Chic. Nile Rodgers, who was the bass player, Nile Rodgers is the guitar player. Bernard Edwards was the bass player. Now, Bernard Edwards was an iconic bass player. So the song Good Times, which is the first cut on this phenomenal album, when I heard that bass, that's when I knew that I had to understand the bass. I tried my best. I wasn't playing the piano at the time. But in my mind, I was trying to sing the bass part. And I began to listen to other music, and I tried to understand the bass and how the chord progressions worked with the bass, and how the bass would do extra things to lead into a new chord. So this was very significant in my musical understanding. And I know this is a very theoretical approach to this question, but that's the way it is. This was a turning point in my life as a little boy. At that time, I was teaching myself and trying to comprehend how music works, how it all comes together. And so this album was a major part of that process. Major part. Another album that did the same thing was the SOS Band. And Brendan, you're the one who sent this to me as a VCLT. But of course, I know SOS Band, but I was so glad that you had sent this to me because I didn't own it. The song, Take Your Time, Do It Right. The bass, that song is known for its bass. Baby, we can do it. Take your doom, 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 doom. That was making a mark in my mind, in my brain cells. It was just settling in, and I was like, wow, it's one of the first songs, along with Good Times, that made me really see how important the bass is in a song, and how it can just be one of the most, if not the important aspect of a song. So this album and that song, which is it the first song? You see that? Take your time, do it right. Woo! Just phenomenal aspect of my life as a boy. Phenomenal. And I have one more, okay? This album, Amy Grant, okay? I was very religious as a boy. I mean, very, very religious. And at the time, as a young teenager, and this album came out in 1985. That's when there was a big controversy and argument about contemporary gospel music. And I was heavily involved in the church as a teenager, playing the piano. And I was always told not to play music or not to play the piano in a contemporary way. Try to stay or do your best, or if not, just you're going to do it. You're going to play traditional piano playing in this church, or you're going to be kicked out. I dealt with that as a boy, and that really messed me up a little bit, you know, because I loved playing gospel music, and I wanted to incorporate all types of genres of music in my playing. And it was fought against. So when I heard Amy Grant come out with Love Will Find a Way, and she did a video for that, just a great song, you know? I love Amy Grant. I love her early work, and I love when she got into, she did more contemporary stuff. She did that wonderful duet with Peter Cetera. And then she did that great album. What was that album? Baby Baby? Oh man. I mean, she just like left the gospel world for a second. And I just thought it was cool. I did not fight against that. I love the fact that she was broadening her musical horizons. But the church and the people that I was around did not like that. They frowned upon it, made me feel bad. But I felt within myself that because she's doing it and she looked like she's loving it, that it's okay. So that played a significant role in my religious and secular bridging. That may be a little deep, but I just had to share that. That question is very, very cool, Brendan. And I hope you get what I'm saying. Maybe someone, if you understand what I'm talking about, please write in the comments. The bridging of contemporary music, or the bridging of gospel and secular music to create modern Christian music at the time in the 80s was a big deal. And to be in the heart or in the middle of that whole phenomenon, or in the middle of that argument, was very significant and kind of warped me a little bit. And I just had to leave the church and say, well, if y'all don't like music, I'm out of here. You know, it was just something else to deal with. But Amy, she was a part of my coming together with modern music and traditional music. along with Andre Crouch too, okay, who's considered the father of contemporary gospel music, okay? So, man, I could do a whole series on gospel music and how it changed. I may do something like that soon. But right now, we're sticking with Brendan's 6,000 subscriber contest, okay? Next question. Name 1 to 5 songs about places you've actually been. So in 2015 and 16, I went to Russia 3 times for the first time, okay? And I did that to promote and to tour. Well, let me say it again. I did that to promote my albums that were out at the time and to tour for the first time outside of the United States. And I went to Russia and all kinds of cities. And the song From Russia with Love stood out in my mind so much. So when I would call home and talk to friends, I would sing that song to them. You know, that song comes from a James Bond movie. From Russia with love, I fly to you, much wiser since my goodbye to you. That's the song. I instantly had that song in my mind. And when I would call home to friends and family, mostly friends because my family didn't know the song too well, I would sing that song over the phone before we would hang up. So that song really sticks with me. And when I hear it now, it makes me think of those great times in Russia. I had a phenomenal time touring Russia. Now, I've toured other countries, but going to Russia was the first time I left the United States. And it was like Beatlemania to know that those people knew my music and they wanted my autograph and they were chasing me, and it was really something. So that song stands out. It just stands out big time. Let's go to the next question. Ask 2 people you've never spoken about regarding music and ask what their favorite 3 bands are. Okay, so I went to McDonald's and no, it was Taco Bell. Yeah. I went to Taco Bell and I asked the guy through the drive-thru. I said, after he gave me my food, I said, tell me 3 of your favorite bands. I'm doing this video and I just want to know. Without missing a beat, he said Pink Floyd, Fleetwood Mac, and the Rolling Stones. And he smiled. He was like happy to hear that question and to be able to answer it. I said, thank you, man. I'm going to use that on the video I'm working on. I almost wanted to take a selfie with him, but I thought that would be too far. But yeah, that was good to know. And he was like 23. And he said his birthday was going to be in a few weeks and he'd be turning 24. So he's a young chap and he loves Pink Floyd, Fleetwood Mac, and the Rolling Stones. I was shocked. Then I went to Starbucks and asked this lovely young lady. She looked about 19. We didn't get into her age. 19, 20, 21. And I asked her after I ordered my iced coffee. I said, can you name me 3 of your favorite bands? I just want to know. And I didn't tell her the details about a video. And she said, oh man, I love the Beatles, and I love Kiss, and I love Mr. Mister. I was shocked. I mean, I was so sure that these young people would say Drake, Cardi B, Lil Nas. I was sure that they'd say someone who's relevant, who's modern day. They didn't. They mentioned all these great bands that we grew up with. So it goes to show that that music is still relevant and still pulsating in the minds and in the hearts of these young people. They got good minds. They have good taste. I would say so. Okay, your bonus question, Brendan. Show a room tour. Okay, Brendan, I in no way have the best setup for showcasing my vinyl or a place in which my vinyl is stored. All I have are crates. Right now, that's all I have. However, I'm working on getting some good vinyl bins that can store my records, because I get tired of bending down to the crates and getting the music. I want to be able to just, stand up and just look through what I want to get and play. And there's also these wonderful frame ledges that I want to use to showcase my vinyl too, especially the ones that are on heavy rotation. They're just like ledges, and you just, screw them to the wall, and they can be like 4 to 8 feet long, and you just put your music there or showcase your vinyl. That's what I want to have. So I'm working on that. But right now, as you see, all I have are my crates, and it works fine for me for now. Well, this ends my video entry to Mr. Hall of Fame's 6,000 subscriber video contest. Brendan, this was really fun, especially that question about asking people about their favorite bands. That was really cool, okay? So I wish everyone who submitted an entry, I wish them all the best of luck. And Brendan, I'm going to keep watching your videos because I learned so much every time. You have such a big variety of music in your collection that I just have to learn from you, as well as so many other people in the vinyl community. I appreciate all of you. Thank you for watching, and as always, with music, be inspired and stay inspired.